That first computer that you mentioned that you got as a kid, I know in one of your books you talked about it too. Can you explain how that exactly worked? Because I found that really fascinating.
Oh, sure. Is this a video?
It'll actually just be audio.
It's just audio. Okay. So, otherwise I could take it down off the shelf and show it to you live. It's a very simple plastic machine. It has three sliders. The sliders have two states, left and right, and there's a little window off to the side that'll show a one or a zero, depending on what state the slider is in. The slider has the sliders sit in a frame, and the frame has these rods that are tensioned with rubber bands, and they will slide into grooves on a clock that slides back and forth. So when you cycle this machine, you cycle this clock. Um, what would I call this thing? It's a plane that sits below all the sliders, and it has grooves on it that move those rods in and out. But they can be blocked if there happens to be a tube, a little soda straw tube that the programmer has put on a peg on the sliders. So if the sliders are in a certain configuration, the rods will slip into the groove and enact a mechanism that will change the state of the slider. Now, if you work that through in your head, that's an AND gate, and it's an AND gate that can change the state of a flip-flop. And there were six of those rods. So this was a machine that had six AND gates that could change the state of the flip-flops in six ways. It's a 3-bit finite state machine with six AND gates. And with that, you can do a hell of a lot. I mean, you could program it to count in binary. You could count up. You could count down. You could add. You could add 2 bits. You had to take out two of the AND gates and replace it with an OR gate to do that. That was a funny little plastic thing that unified two of the AND gates. But otherwise, it was very straightforward. You could do a lot of very interesting logical manipulations. And the machine absolutely fascinated me because it would do these things that you would expect only a human could do, like count. And I was 12 years old, so computers were like magic to me. And here's this little plastic thing doing those things, and I decided I needed to understand it in detail. So I went through an awful lot of effort making sure I understood every little bit of that machine. And in that activity, I realized that I was going to be a programmer.
Is that something that people can still buy today?
No, the company that made them was called Educational Research. They made a number of educational toys. This machine was called the Digi-Comp 1. And there are a number of them out there. You can go on eBay and buy them, and you'll pay a pretty penny for them nowadays. They also made a number of other toys. There was one that played the game of Nim, which if you're a follower of Numberphile or the one of the other mathematics YouTubers, Matt Parker. He actually showcased that on one of his videos. But there were a number of these tools that they made, these toys that they made, and then they went out of business, as they do, probably around 1968 or 69.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There are other people who have made models of it, mostly out of cardboard, laser cut cardboard. They're not as good as the original plastic.
Mm.
There are also simulators online.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
so if you look up Digicomp 1 and you'll run into some GUI driven by JavaScript that'll make the thing work for you.